work this. Everyone thinks because you're a millennial that you know how to work all the technology, but that is not the case with me. I am so excited to be here with you guys and super excited to talk about growing your network on social media, but also in real life. And honestly, you guys, I have such a big heart for area managers because part of my story really is that this may not sound like a long time in today's, actually this sounds like a really long time in today's Arbonne timeline of people going region in 7 seconds, but it took me 13 months to go region. And I remember being an area manager, and I consistently, over the course of my business, tried to hit my area manager bonus. So I worked for it, and I would end up at like 16,000 or 17,000. And then I remember the first time I hit my area manager bonus and did 20,000, I was like, this is it, like I'm going region qual. And that next month, right after, we dropped back down to 17,000. And then the next month we did 26,000, and the next month we region qualified in January with 42,000. And so I'm sharing that with you because, like Evelyn said, sometimes the work that you're doing isn't showing up directly in your numbers. And it wasn't the stuff that we did in December that caused us to go region qual in January, right? It was all of those months beforehand and all the work that we did behind the scenes that ended up coming to fruition in my business that January. And so I just also want to say that I'm really proud of you for being here and really proud of you for achieving this because you guys really are the future national vice presidents of this company. And you're here for a reason, on purpose, and you're changing so many lives right now and so many to come. But I want to first talk about strategically following people, you guys, on your social media. This is huge. So when I'm on my social media, I do my very best not to waste a lot of time sitting around scrolling and looking at things like Danielle said, like, you know, a fireman saving a cat from a tree. Like, I need to be using my social media as a business tool to find people that I wouldn't ordinarily be able to connect with in person, right? So strategically following people, and that's the beauty of social media. Like, you can kind of figure out who people are just from their profiles, right? You can see their values, you can see what kind of person they are, you can see what kind of content they post. And for me, when I'm looking at someone on social media, I go, is this somebody that I'd be proud to represent Arbonne? That's what I always think when I'm looking at somebody's social media. I also, you guys, follow people that are friends with my friends. Because I don't know them, but my friend does, and so if there's somebody that I end up wanting to be in my business, we're gonna have that mutual connection, and they're more likely to jump in and join me because they know I'm not a total random weirdo, right? I also follow people who clearly have influence, meaning people look at them and are interacting with them, commenting on their stuff, and looking up to them as someone who they wanna be more like. Because who are the people that are at the top of Arbonne? Who are you guys? You guys are influencers. You're people that other people want to do what you're doing. That's why you're an area manager or regional vice president in Arbonne. So you also want to be looking for those kind of people to join your business. So when I very first started my business in 2015, Instagram was a different place. People didn't like filter and edit all their stuff. It was just, and I always tell people this because a lot of people go, oh, so you built your whole business on social media. And I'm like, not exactly. And if you get really bored and you don't have a whole lot of time, or if you have a whole lot of time one day, you can scroll back really far in my Instagram and see how horrible I was at social media when I started Arbonne. Like, I think one of my really great first posts was me taking a picture of the catalog and posting it. Because I wanted people to look at it. But one of my now area managers in my business was a girl who I immediately, when I started my business, I saw that she was someone who was into fitness, she was into nutrition, and I thought, if I could get this girl on my team, like, she'd be a vice president. Yeah. And immediately I messaged her. She was like, no, thank you. I wouldn't do something like this. I'm already affiliated with another brand company, so on and so forth. But I just kept feeling so strongly that if she joined me, she'd be amazing. And so every single few months, I would reach out to her again. I'd message her on Instagram again. I never got her number. And that's one of my number one rules is that I do not just communicate with people on social media. I always want their phone number to be able to shoot them a text. But she was hard to get. So for years, up until last January, when I was a national vice president in Maui, I continued to follow up with her and message her on social media. She joined me last January and is now an area manager. Persistence pays off. But my point in telling you this, you guys, is it's okay for people not to join you right away. And for you to become who you need to be for them to finally go, okay, I have to join her. She's left me no choice. She's at the top of the company, I have to do what she's doing, right? And there are some people that have to see you be a regional vice president and a national vice president to join you. And I'm really big on this, but really fortunate is in the follow-up, and so many people on my team and in my organization are people that I followed up with for years. Some of my vice presidents are people that I dripped on for 2 and 3 years, and they had to see me go all the way to the top to finally join me. But I didn't stop working and wait on them. I kept working, and I knew, like, hey, I'm gonna show you, and you're gonna be the one that's sad that you didn't jump in sooner. Not me. And I have a lot of people who will tell me that. They'll go, I'm so sorry I didn't join you sooner. I go, don't say sorry to me, say sorry to yourself. You wasted a whole lot of time. So strategically following those people and reaching out to them and being okay with them not jumping in and joining you right away. That brings me to my next point, is dating people. Like, so many of us want to jump in bed with people right away. And we have to date people who are going to potentially be our team members. And Anissa Carroll, who's here right now, who earned RVP2BE on my team, she joined my business in June. You guys, I dated her for about a year before she joined me. And with Anissa, you guys, I had followed her for a while because I liked her content. I liked what she stood for. She posted about Jesus. She posted Bible verses. She also posted her fitness and her workout. And I was like, this is a girl I would really want to do life with and really want to be friends with. You have to think about that too. Like, when you're asking people to join your Arbonne business, are these people you really want to do life with? And so I would consistently reply to her stories, engage in her content, comment on her photos, but also one day I saw that she lived near my area. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, we should totally meet up and do coffee. I promise I'm not a weirdo. I live near you. We could go work out together and go do smoothies. And so we did. For about a year, we would just go on weekly workout and smoothie dates. And so casually, I would share with her that I did Arbonne the same way she'd tell me about nursing. And I just told her about what I did. And finally, I told my husband, I go, you know what, if I don't share Arbonne with Anissa, I'm gonna be really mad at myself, because she's gonna join somebody at some point, and if it's not me, I'm gonna be really mad. And so I actually sent her a message as I was hopping on an airplane, because I knew that I could turn my phone off and not have to see if she rejected me. It's like when you're telling a boy you like him, you know? Oh, I hope he has a good response. And so I sent this to Anissa. I have the exact message that I texted her. I said, okay, so honestly, you can totally say no and I'll absolutely respect it, but I keep thinking about how Arbonne could really bless you. And I have no doubt that you'd be amazing at it. I would love to take you to coffee or have you over and explain it more in depth to you. You remind me a lot of a girl who's a fellow ENVP, and she's super into lifting weights and uses Arbonne's 30 days to fit into her diet physique goals, and she helps so many others use our nutrition and skincare products, and has successfully built an amazing income for herself while being full-time military. Plus, she's now earning trips on Arbonne's dime and living a life by design. I know you love your job, and there's lots of nurses who are also VPs with Arbonne. I have well over 20 girls, and counting on my team, who've earned their Mercedes-Benz cash bonus. Is that compliant? Was that good lingo? I know you already have a white one, so that wouldn't be your motive, but I think you could be so successful and totally rock this. Let me know what you think. Love you, friend. My plane is taking off, so if I don't respond, that's why. And when I got off the plane, she responded to me, and she came over, and I shared with her, and it took about 3 months from that point on for her to finally jump in and join me. And then she went area call her first month of the business. So also, dating people on Instagram and finding people that you actually want to hang out with, who live in your area, and conversing back and forth. And I'm a slacker. I'm not like all these other VPs that spoke who had slides. And so I have literal screenshots of just our interactions back and forth through Messenger. And so it's okay to not jump in and ask somebody about Arbonne the first 7 seconds you meet them. It's okay to let them watch you and see your journey. But also, not waiting too long to where if they are going to jump in and join, they join someone else because you never asked. We all know those people where you show up at a conference or a meeting and you see someone that you wanted on your team and you're like, how are you here? Did you see me post the details? Or I'm like, oh no, so-and-so asked me. And you're like, oh, okay, lesson learned. And anytime you ever have that happen to you, you know that you don't want it to happen again. Yeah. But also trusting that the right people will be on your team, and the right people who are not supposed to be on your team will not be on your team. In addition, you guys, there's so many people that I have literally gone on the location aspect of my Instagram app, and I've seen I've found girls that live in the Dallas area, that live in the Prosper area, and truly I am always looking to make friends. And I have a lot of people in my life that I love dearly that don't do Arbonne with me. So I'm always looking to make friends, and hopefully those friends can also be in my Arbonne business, right? The next thing is finding common, ground conversation starters. So what makes you follow someone? What makes you want to be friends with somebody? What are your mutual interests? Do you both like to work out? Are you both vegetarians? Are you moms? Like, the simplest things can connect people. And like Carol said earlier, like when people all see the Arbonne bug in the logo, like you're automatically family. That's the same thing when I find a girl who likes the same workout clothes as me, or goes to the same restaurant, so on and so forth. Like, it doesn't have to be some huge earth-shattering, groundbreaking thing that you have in common. It can be the little things that you can start a conversation with and start a friendship with someone. And so one of my actual direct area managers on my team, I met her in line at UPS. And when I walked in, I saw how cute her workout outfit was, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love your workout clothes. Like, they're so cute. And she's like, well, I really like your purse. I'm like, well, thanks, I earned it, doing my job. She's like, well, what do you do to get that kind of purse? What job do you have? And I was like, I'm an ENVP with Arbonne. And she's like, oh, I know what Arbonne is. She goes, but no one's ever told me about it before. I was like, well, you're gonna come to a meeting with me tonight. And I got her number, and I was like, I promise I'm not a serial killer, you can ride with me, you can come, and she ended up joining my business that night.
Oh my God.
So like, are you looking up when you're out in public? Or are you on your phone and paying attention to what you're doing for the day? Because my thought is always to be intentional when I'm out and about, that somebody in this room could be my next vice president on my team. So I don't care if it's someone's workout clothes that you have to comment on, if it's the color of the drink that's in their cup. I've done that before too. I've been like, what is that drink that you're drinking in there? And they're like, oh, it's such and such. I'm like, oh, you need a fizzy. Fizzies are so much better. And I give them a fizzy. Also, asking friends for referrals. We hear this a lot, but I think so many of us actually miss the mark on this. I know for the longest time I didn't do this. I always felt like that I had to find people myself. And if they didn't directly come to me, or if I didn't know them, I just had a mental block with this. But I, in the past year, started really asking my friends, like, who do you know that I need to know? Connect me with them on social media. And a great friend of mine from high school, I asked her, I was like, you're in a sorority, you know so many girls that would be great at Arbonne. And I was like, send me their Instagram handles so I can go follow them. Because what happens is when you go and connect with these people, you can start interacting with them, and that's kind of in today's world, like in 2020, it's not weird to be social media friends with people. Because so many of us are sitting on our phones all day long, all the time, that sometimes that's all the interaction that people have, is back and forth messaging and encouragement on social media. So ask your friends who you need to know, and go follow those people. And also, you guys, we talked about this last night at dinner, all the VPs were like, how many of us just sit around and we look up and like we've just been scrolling through Instagram? Like that wasn't a distraction back in the day when people were building their own business. Please be mindful like of the time that you're sitting on your phone just scrolling on Instagram, and also playing the comparison game. Like that was one of the greatest things about when I started my Arbonne business, is that there wasn't other people on social media doing Arbonne that I had to go look and compare my timeline to. So if you have to, be really disciplined about using your Instagram and your social media only for finding new people and engaging with the people that are on your team. And then also using your Instagram to post and build your brand and build your business. And that's where you need to make sure that your message is consistent on social media. Like every single day I'm posting about Arbonne. Every single day I'm posting, my husband or my dogs. And ironically enough, you guys, there are people that I don't know really well that will be like, oh my gosh, yeah, you're a Frenchie mama. Like they would only know this from my social media. Or they know that I drink 8 fizz a day, people that aren't even in my business. So like how are you branding yourself? What are you being so consistent about that people that you don't even talk to on a regular basis know about you? And I know that at this moment, like in your business and area manager level, it's pivotal for a lot of people. It's that shift of you going from like, I'm in Arbonne, but I'm not gonna, share it too much with people because I don't want to freak them out. Like I feel like this is the moment where you make that shift in your business. Like I'm going VP, and so if every single one of my story slides on my Instagram is about Arbonne, I don't care. It's making that shift of really being all in. And I know that some of us in here have really great social media platforms. Or maybe we just have 10 friends on Facebook, but we're still not sharing. Like, get really bold about sharing your message on social media if you're not. And I know my mom is turning 60 this year, and she's on my Arbonne team, and she has social media, but she'll go, I just don't want people to see me posting it too much, or doing too much. I'm like, Mom, you're taking an option away from a lot of people if they don't know you do what you do. Amen. So be bold about posting. You guys, I also, I post things about my family, my dogs, but I'm also showing when me and my team are at dinners together. When we are having a Discover Arbonne, I show people my shake recipes. And I actually had one person comment one time and go, "We get it, we know how you make your shake." I was like, well, someone new here is not gonna know, right? So being okay also, like, people are gonna have things to say, or people are gonna think you're annoying. Whatever, who cares? Those aren't the people that you want on your team anyways. Also, you guys, don't waste a bunch of time trying to make graphics and to be cute. Like, I hear so many people like, "How did you make this? How did you do this?" I go, "I didn't. I took it from someone else." Like, if that's not your strong suit, if you're great at that and that doesn't take up a lot of your time and you like to do that, go for it. But I am tech challenged. And I'm not creative like that, and I'm not good at that. So if I can find those graphics that I can use that aren't gonna take up a bunch of my time, and then I can enhance them by putting my own words and put a meaningful caption on it, that's what I'm gonna do. Because you'll look up one day and you'll go, "Oh, all the Arbonne I did today was make stuff on WordSwag." And that's not building a business. And so my day in the life on Instagram, you guys, my goal is to be at the top of people's feeds. Meaning, like, I'm always trying to post something to my story so that at the top of someone's feed, like, it's my story that they have to click on and go look at. And you really are missing out if you're not using stories and if you're not posting regularly to your feed and telling a story. And what I mean by that is, like, from the outside in, people don't know what RVP2BE is. Like, we know it and we get it. And we know, like, what ENVP means and what AIT is and earning bonuses and so on and so forth, but people on the outside don't. So it's really important that you are almost explaining in a creative way on your social media, like, what's going on here, what's going on this weekend, and what's going on a daily basis in your business. And just showing people, like, the lifestyle that you have. There's a way to sell Arbonne without selling it, right? To share the benefits, to show them what it's doing for you. The lifestyle, the freedom, the choices. And hear me when I say this, I don't mean a persona as in fake, but I mean you are creating a persona on Instagram or on Facebook. Like, you need to brand yourself where people know the important things you want them to know about you. And so for me, something that's important that people know about me is that I love Jesus. So I post about Jesus. And that's what I want people to know about me. So what are you posting that you want people to know about you? And also know that you're gaining people's trust and they're watching you. So give them a good show. Like, make it interesting. And also know too, like, that people want to know who you are. And so if you're not somebody who goes on, it is uncomfortable for you to go on your stories and, like, share your heart and share, inspiration or far beyond you just posting pictures of products, it's okay to do that afraid. Because I'm afraid standing up here and I'm sweating under my armpits. Our deodorant is really good, so I'm thankful. But also have interactive stories. And what I mean by this is give people an opportunity to engage with you. So, like, I'll post about the 30 days healthy living and I'll go, "Hey, like, drop your number here if you want to know more." Sometimes no one drops their number, but then there are sometimes people where they go, "It's a friend from high school," and she's like, "Okay, I haven't wanted to, but I've just seen you post over and over about it and now I'm ready to hear about it." And somebody who was invited to, converse back and forth with me is gonna do it, but sometimes people are afraid to even reach out or say anything. So make sure that you're making it obvious to them that it's a safe place for them to reach out and talk to you about it. But also, on the flip side of that, never wait around for people to reach out to you. Give them an opportunity to. But if you want someone on your team and if you want someone to join you, like, you need to take initiative. And that's something that will never change in this business, is that the number one reason why people don't join is because they're not asked. So give them an opportunity to ask themselves, but also ask them too. And then hashtags. If you're not using hashtags, you're missing out. Because even I will go click on hashtags to go and find people and connect with people in common interest. And I've been using hashtags since 2015. And I actually have saved in my notes, my husband did this for me because I have no idea how to do this, but he made a keyboard shortcut for me with all my hashtags that I like to use in my posts. And so every single post I make on Instagram, I attach hashtags to it in the comment section. And you just never know who's gonna find you from putting those hashtags there, but you also never know who you're gonna find when you search those hashtags of common interest. and I'm really big on this, do not let perfection become procrastination. Because so many of us are overthinking it. Yeah. And one thing I will tell you that I've done well in my business is I'm not particularly good at a lot of things. I'm really not. And my team makes fun of me for it. But I am urgent. Like, I'm on it. Like, if I think about someone, I'm messaging them. If I want to meet up with someone, I'm doing it tomorrow. Like, I literally, Brittany Trent, who's an executive national vice president underneath me, I wanted her on my team, and she told me she wanted to meet. She was like, well, I'm on an airplane. I'm like, okay, what time do you land? Like, as soon as you can get in front of people, do it. Or if you need to make a phone call, make the phone call. Like, don't waste time thinking about it, because the quicker you do that activity, the quicker you've talked to someone, the quicker you planted the seed, quicker you can water it, the quicker it can sprout. And like Danielle said, like, the quicker you do the activity and the more you do of it, the quicker you're gonna get to where you wanna go. And sense of urgency creates excitement, right? Because then the more that you're urgent about something, the quicker you're getting results and the quicker people are seeing, like, okay, like, this really is working for her. And there's not all these cliche quotes like the early bird gets the worm on accident. Like, that's because it's true. And then, you know, from a duplication standpoint, use the same materials for everything. Like, my whole entire team, you guys, has the same exact presentations, the same exact Is Arbonne for You flyer. Like, I don't veer off of that. So make sure that you're keeping it simple and easy for yourself, but also for your team. Consistency is key. And so whatever your upline teaches and whatever they are giving you for presentations and outlines, like, use that. I remember in the beginning of my business, I just told my upline, she'd been in the business for like 15 years, and I told her how I was gonna do it. So I was like, oh no, I'm just gonna go do the presentation, I'm just gonna wing it. She's like, Peyton, that's not how that works. You have to read off a flip chart, because other people are gonna see you read off a flip chart and go, okay, I can read off of a flip chart too. So make sure that everything that you're doing, you want to also be mimicked by your team, whether you have one now or whether you're getting one down the road. And then leaving no approach on the table. I'm really big on this. Once again, people in 2019, 2020, I forgot what year we're in, think that Arbonne is just straight up social media. Guys, so many times in my business, I've driven 2 and 3 hours for a presentation where maybe 2 people show up. Or I've driven 3 hours before where not even the host came. I've done coffee dates, I've done phone calls, I've literally, you know, met with people in a parking lot and sat in their front seat of their car and chatted with them. Like, I have done it all. And I think that's what makes all these women in here great leaders as well, as they've left no approach on the table. And if you're really wanting to be a national vice president, you're willing to do whatever it takes. And I hear that a lot. People go, well, I really want to be a national vice president. I'm like, cool, everyone does. I don't care if you want to be a national vice president, I care if you're willing to do what it takes to be a national vice president. So hear me when I say, like, as I'm training you on social media and what to do, and how to connect with people and your cold market and all that good stuff, like, social media is not everything. And just posting on social media isn't building an Arbonne business. Having conversations and back and forth dialogue and interaction is building an Arbonne business. And so meeting people, whether in person or virtually, requires us to get out of our comfort zone, right? Like, having a conversation with anyone can be scary, but social media is a great way for you to broaden your network and to meet people that you wouldn't have met otherwise. But it's also super, super impactful to meet people in person too. And that's why if I can meet someone in person that I met on social media, I love to do that. Because no matter what, in person cannot be, you know, it can't be replaced. There's something special about getting to be in person with people. And so remember this too, that social media is a huge platform. And so, like I said, I was able to meet Anissa there. I was able to meet Tess on my team. There's so many amazing girls that I've been able to connect to on social media and then get to meet them in real life and do real life with them. But you guys, remember to be the same person in person in real life that you are on social media. Because I've heard people say before, like, oh, that's so-and-so? She doesn't look like that on social media. Like, people need to be able to recognize you in real life. And I'm glad I don't know how to edit my photos. So make sure that you're the same. That's integrity, and that's who we are in Arbonne. Like, being who we are in real life and on social media. And lastly, you guys, I just want to encourage you that there are 7 billion people in the world. And so if you're struggling with your 100-person list or meeting people or not sure who's gonna take you to the next level, like there are people everywhere that can come alongside you and join this business with you and not only take you to the next level, but you help them go where they wanna go. And that was the ultimate thing that I realized in building my business, was that it wasn't about my goal, it was about how many other people am I gonna bring along with me and help them achieve their goals. So now, if you guys have any questions, I'd love to do Q&A. Yes. And sorry, okay. I was like, do I need to pop down?
My question is, are you using LinkedIn, or what your thoughts are on that?
So I have a LinkedIn because it was a project in college that I had to have one. I've heard, actually, ironically enough, a lot of people that do use LinkedIn and have like professional profiles on there are able to meet people from that. So I'm honestly all about any platform that you can connect with someone on. Like, I even know people use Bumble Friends and meet people. I just think however you're connecting with someone, let them know up front that it's Arbonne that you're interested in them knowing about. That way they don't feel like they got duped. So yeah, if you can do LinkedIn, I would.
Hi, I have a question about, I run into often people will see my social media, and not that I'm very good at it, I'm not, but I am consistent about posting, and so that's one of the things that they're so afraid of is, Noelle, I'm not like you, I'm not outgoing, I don't know how to post things, and so it really kind of, in some ways, they're afraid to join the business because of that. How do you deal with that?
Sure, and that's something I get a lot too, right? So number one, you have to remind people that like the Arbonne community is so strong that a lot of people that are following us and commenting and doing all that stuff are already in Arbonne, so they make us look better than we are. And then number two, is that it's a learned behavior, like it's something that anybody and everyone can do. And so that's why I always share with people like, hey, go scroll back and go look when I first started. I wasn't good at posting, or I wasn't good at sharing, because people need to know that it's something that you develop, and just like anything else, you do it over and over again, you get good at it. But also, I do encourage my team like that my uplines have been building this business long before there was social media. So it's possible to never make a post and build a business and go all the way to the top.
Yep.
And so I remind people of that, but I go, it's kind of silly to not use what you have in front of you. So just assuring people that they can do it without it, but that you can also help them and show them how to.
Peyton, I'm an extrovert introvert. So
Me too.
I get exhausted from the daily activity and the interaction and the face-to-face all day long, plus I work full-time. So at the end of the day, when I finally am able to shift to managing my business after work and the kids and everything else, I'm already exhausted at that point. So what advice do you have to do this beyond just social media when you're already to that portion where you need to recover from all the extrovertness you've been doing all day long?
I sometimes tell my team like we're Academy Award winners. And what I mean by that is that even when you don't feel like it, you have to pump yourself up. And you have to go, one day, I'm gonna look back and be so thankful that I put on that brave, excited face for that phone call at 9 p.m. when I really was like wanting to pull my hair out. Because down the road, it'll keep you from having to work all day long and be exhausted in that sense. Do you know what I mean? Like one day you won't have to do all of those things. One day, because you did those phone calls and you pumped yourself up when really you just wanted to go to sleep, like down the road that will pay off and you won't have to do the whole day long situation. So then you just have one phone call a day and you're like, oh, I'm super excited for it. I need 3 or 4 more. And also I think just having like your end vision. What is the vision that excites you? Like for me, every single time I get on a phone call or a Zoom or whatever, there are a lot of times where I've been like, oh, I don't want to do this right now. I'm like not excited right now, or I'm not feeling it right now. But I always say too, feelings follow actions. And so I generally find that even if I'm not excited about doing the activity or going to the party, after I leave, I'm always like, oh, that's why I do what I do. Like, I love it. Yeah. It's the same way you go to the gym. Nobody wants, like the other morning at 4 a.m., I was like, I should just go back to sleep. I don't want to go to the gym. But then after my workout, I had all these endorphins, I was excited, so then my feelings followed my action. Hopefully that helps.
Hi, Peyton. I have a question. Sometimes I get a little bit confused between all the conflicting advice about whether you should say you're with Arbonne on social media or you should be showing lifestyle.
Yeah, like yes, make sure that you're aligned with Arbonne.
So some trainers say though that if you're early in your business, especially, you want to do a bit more lifestyle and make people curious so they'll want to know what you're doing, and it's just hard to reconcile that sometimes.
So I think that's called beating around the bush. And I think that's an easy way to go, I don't want people to reject me too much, so I'm gonna just throw out that I'm making a healthy smoothie. It's like, no, you're making an Arbonne protein shake. And I actually had a girl on my team one time tell me, she actually came to me and she goes, hey, I've heard about this new kind of marketing. It's like where you don't share the brand at all, and you just intrigue people.
That drives me crazy.
And I'm like, okay, well, by sharing my brand, I've made it to the top of the company, and so have lots of other people. And so I'm gonna keep doing what other successful people have done to get where they're at. So, yes, like I understand that because there's a lot, and I also like wanna hit on this, and I hope this is okay to say from stage. Sorry, there's a lot of people out there, like when you scroll on Instagram or Facebook, that are like, let me help you grow your business. And it's like, why, if you're so good at what you do you need to help me grow my business and you haven't built your own business? So just remember that like the advice that you need to take from people is from people who are at the top of Arbonne.
Yep.
You know, like if you want to be a doctor, you're not going to go to a manicurist to figure out how to do what you're doing. So I hope that answers your question.
So my question is, when you were talking about dating people but also not waiting too long, my question is kind of two-part of what do you use to figure out kind of that timeline? And second of all, I feel like some pushback sometimes is, you know, oh, she ended up just getting to know me because of Arbonne. And for me, I'm like, no, I actually really like people, but I like people enough to share Arbonne too.
Sure.
So kind of what's the balance with that?
Yeah, I think what's important, like from the moment I met Anissa, even for coffee, like when we sat down and talked, like she knew I did Arbonne, and I told her, like when we sat down, I was like, yeah, I do Arbonne, I love it, and kind of briefly told her my story. And then as she would like come over, I'm like, oh, I'm making a shake, do you want me to make you a shake? And so like she always knew it was a part of my life, but I just wasn't sitting there giving her like a Discover Arbonne. You know, and so I think when people feel like blindsided, like you've never said anything to them about Arbonne before, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, like I've been thinking about you. And I even told Anissa in that message, I said like, I really value you as a friend. So regardless of if you say no to this, I still want to be your friend. Because there are so many people in my life that I love that don't necessarily do Arbonne with me. And I'm kind of a firm believer that like who's supposed to be in your life is going to be in your life, and if they're not, they're not. So if somebody doesn't know your heart and your intentions well enough to know that you didn't just befriend them to do Arbonne with you, then maybe they just shouldn't be your friend anyways. Yeah. And then also just like as far as like when you're sharing with somebody or dating with someone, like I also heard Anissa like say certain needs, like she'd be like, oh, I'm so tired after my job, or like just different things where I was like, okay, like maybe this could actually help her. So people will tell you what they need kind of too, that you can like listen for those things and how Arbonne can be a solution in their life.
Hi Peyton, thank you for yesterday and thank you for all of your years. I am a slow learner, but I learn from you a little bit.
I don't think you're too slow, you're RVP2BE.
I have a question about how do you deal with your team when I will share your training with them and tell them, show it all, be bold, go all in, like make sure your post, your stories on top of all your friends on Facebook, on Instagram, just show that what you have. And they will tell you, I don't want people to unfriend me, I don't want people to hate me because I do Arbonne. I have those excuses. They are coming from different cultures. And I was thinking the same. I know I bring in what I think, so I had to remove it from myself and be bold on Facebook and Instagram. But on the other hand, I still get that from other people. What would you say? How would you deal with this?
So I think you're a really good example to tell your team like, hey, I used to feel the same way and I totally understand where you're coming from. But I also saw the bigger picture, and I valued the fact that when I share this, it wasn't going to be bothering someone, it was going to be helping them. And if somebody, once again, like is annoyed or bothered by it, then maybe there's a personal issue within them. Because if someone's genuinely happy in their life, they can look at your post and go, I'm super happy for her, I don't need to unfriend her. Do you know what I mean? And so I think number one, like relating to your team in the sense that you also felt that same way, but also that is where a lot of personal growth has to come in, that you're confident enough that you can share this and not care what other people are gonna think about you. And so some of those people, you may have to love them where they're at and go and find people who are willing to be bold. Because I have a girl on my team who has like 250,000 followers on Instagram. And so if she just posted one thing, it would change everything, but she won't do it because she cares too much about what other people think. Yeah. And so I can't help her. I can't help someone who's not willing to use the platform that they have. So I left her where she's at, love her, but I'm more interested in someone who has 10 followers that's willing to be bold and brave and work and share.
Hi, Peyton. So I heard the reference twice today about getting lost on social media with firemen rescuing cats in trees. So I was curious if you wanted to learn more about what firemen do, because as someone in network marketing, what you see on the internet can be a little misleading about business. So if you wanted to maybe explore that, we could have a conversation.
Perfect. I'll find you afterwards and
There
find
we
out
go.
what you really
Cool.
do. Yeah.